Diddy, having been raised in the Catholic Church, had a chat with his priest before the release of the video and decided he no longer wanted his crucifixion scene included. However, by the time he came to that decision, it was already too late. Large sums of money had been spent, and Steve Stout, Nas's manager, was reluctant to make the change, especially given the fact that the crucifixion scene was Diddy's idea in the first place. On April 15, 1999, the uncut music video aired on national TV, and according to Double XL, it was only a matter of minutes before Diddy and his bodyguards burst into Steve's office to violently assault him in front of 2 clients. While speaking to the LA Times, Steve recounts the incident. "One minute I'm in the middle of a meeting, and the next I'm down on the floor and Puffy and his guys are kicking and pounding me. One of them picks up a chair and throws it at me. Then Puffy throws my desk over, and they just walk out like nothing happened. I was laying there on the floor bleeding. My jaw and my head were all swollen. I couldn't move my arm. It was a traumatic experience, and in the middle of it, I didn't know exactly how to feel. I was upset, embarrassed, scared, and angry. As far as I'm concerned, this was an attempt on my life." Almost instantly, Diddy was arrested, criminally charged, and faced up to 7 years in prison until Steve suddenly had a change of heart and asked the DA's office to drop the charges once Diddy apologized.
"I just want to say I give all glory to God."
And if that wasn't enough, one of the most high-profile controversies involving P. Diddy was the 1999 shooting at Club New York. On December 28, 1999, Sean Combs and then-girlfriend Jennifer Lopez had been celebrating a soon-to-be-released album by Shine, a.k.a. Jamal Barrow, the rap mogul's 21-year-old protege at Midtown's Club New York.
September 26th, album coming out. Number 8 on Jams right now. Request that so I can be number 1, all right?
They were leaving when Combs, carrying a bottle of champagne, accidentally jostled one of the club's patrons, knocking a drink out of his hand. The man, Matthew Allen, a street tough known as Scar, responded with a shove. Things escalated. One of Allen's companions allegedly threw a stack of money in Combs' face, and shots were fired, leaving 3 people injured. Combs and Lopez were arrested fleeing the scene in a Lincoln Navigator with a gun in the trunk. J-Lo was quickly absolved, and although witnesses said they'd seen Combs with the weapon, and his driver testified that his boss had bribed him to claim ownership, his legal team, including Johnny Cochran, created enough doubt that Combs was acquitted too. I don't know if you know this judge, but this person, Jennifer Lopez, is a very famous actress. One lawyer pointed out. To think Mr. Combs is walking around with her with a loaded gun. It's so ridiculous that it stretches the imagination. In the end, it was Shine who served almost 9 years for assault, gun possession, and reckless endangerment, though he did so angrily, claiming Combs had sold him out to save his own skin. After his acquittal, Combs changed his nickname to P. Diddy in hopes of putting the past behind him, but the case still casts a shadow over his reputation to this day.
Classic, stay classic.
This was just another example of Diddy's involvement in shady situations. It seems that his abusive past has always been one of the industry's worst-kept secrets. And it's important to note here just how popular and powerful Diddy was becoming at this point. Following the tragic murder of the notorious B.I.G., Diddy's tribute single, I'll Be Missing You, featuring Faith Evans, debuted at number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 and remained in the number 1 spot for an astounding 11 weeks, as well as topping charts around the world. Diddy's mainstream celebrity status continued growing with the release of his debut album, No Way Out, which sold 3.4 million physical copies in the United States alone, going platinum. He even managed to earn 5 Grammy nominations for this album in 1997, going on to win for Best Rap Album. In 1998, he created the Sean John clothing line that later became a cultural phenomenon. From there, he dipped into fragrances, alcohol, and even set up a media company, becoming the host of multiple reality shows where he would discover new talent and make people stars. Diddy was hanging out with all the hottest celebs, from Kanye West to Donald Trump and Martha Stewart. By now, he was rich, filthy rich, It's estimated that he has more than $800 million in valuation of property and assets. And according to a Business Insider, Diddy's record label brought in about $130 million annually in its prime. It's safe to say that his lifestyle was nothing short of lavish, and with all of his fame and wealth, he became known for putting on some of the most extravagant parties for his celebrity friends. But once the main party had ended and the majority of the guests had gone home, this is allegedly where the more obscene activities would begin, better known as freak-offs. During these freak-offs, another side of Combs would come out, and it was only a matter of time before the true Diddy was exposed for the world to see.
Hey there, I'm Lindsay Sharp joining Ashton and Diddy this year in Beverly Hills, where they brought the infamous white party. It's 4th of July, but we're also shining a light on malaria no more.
A Sean Diddy Combs party invitation was once the ultimate Hollywood pass, with guest lists featuring A-listers like Justin Bieber, Mariah Carey, Paris Hilton, and Jennifer Lopez. These events were a star-studded affair. Even Jay-Z and Beyonce have used Diddy's parties to debut new music.
So how did this whole white party come about all these years?
Oh man, it was like maybe over a decade ago. So I moved to a new neighborhood and they were like, well, what's this guy doing moving here in East Hamptons? And and he has this estate on the water, what's going on? And so I said, everybody, come on over to the house so y'all get to know me. Let me invite some of my friends from Harlem, from 145th Street. Let me mix y'all together so y'all know you ain't got nothing to be afraid of. You ain't got to hold your pocketbooks tight or nothing when I'm jogging in the neighborhood. And then it was history. Everybody became friends, and a lot of people, really kept friendships from that. It was something that I just did every summer, in the Hamptons, and I took it overseas to San Tropez, and then I brought it here to LA, and
Now, why did you decide to bring it to LA this time around?
I was out here shooting a movie and just out here meeting new people, and really also it was just the prime place to do because Ashton's located here, and to do the whole malaria no more.
Oh, well, I've never been to the white party before, and this is definitely a big way to spend 4th of July. I can't imagine it any other way, but being in New York all the other years, just seeing the fireworks and everything, LA was just a change of scenery, so I'm excited about it.
Lastly, what makes Ashton and Diddy the perfect hosts for the day?
They're just a dynamic duo. They're big together, so I don't know. I'm excited to see what's inside. I don't know what's gonna happen.
In the Los Angeles area, the rapper lived on what has become known as Beverly Hills' most expensive street. The high fences allow celebrities to hide from prying eyes, and Hugh Hefner's Playboy Mansion sits only a few doors down. Diddy's mansion in Beverly Hills was one of several venues he used to host his annual White Party, a flagship event which he held from 1998 to 2009. He began the parties in New York's exclusive Hamptons area with a strict all-white dress code, bringing together East Hampton's old money elite and the rising stars of hip-hop. Mr. Combs once described the parties as a way to break down racial and generational barriers. But the hottest party of the year was a facade that allowed sinister conduct, according to recent lawsuits. In a lawsuit, a man, who was 16 years old at the time, described the thrill of getting to attend Mr. Combs' first white party in 1998. Walking into the Hamptons mansion, he saw celebrities and entertainment executives left and right. In the lawsuit, he said he believed the party could open doors to a music career. He said he was on his way to the bathroom when he ran into the rapper. They started talking and then moved to another, more private area. That's when Mr. Combs said the teen had the right look and he could turn anyone into a star, the lawsuit states. Then things took a dark turn. Mr. Combs abruptly ordered the then teenage boy to drop his pants so that Mr. Combs could examine and touch him, the lawsuit alleges. According to the lawsuit, Mr. Combs said it was a rite of passage and the route to becoming a star. It also claims that he said it was a way for him to prove himself, asking the teen, Don't you want to break into the business? As more and more people come out with claims against Mr. Combs, the internet has begun to draw links between some of the recent allegations and what some would describe as suspicious relationships with a couple well-known artists who were frequently around Diddy in the earlier stages of their careers.
That's why I don't be going to them puffy parties. They can hug you from the front and the back at the same time. What are you talking about?
P. Diddy be wanting the body, and you gotta tell him no. You got to tell him no.
In August 2016, R&B legend Usher appeared on The Howard Stern Show, where he described some of his earliest years in the music industry. At just 15, Usher was already collaborating with established executive Sean Combs, who was happy to co-produce the young artist's self-titled album in 1994. But this didn't simply end as a business relationship. It seems that the pair seemed to get very close, as Usher told Howard that he lived with the mogul for up to a year without his parents even knowing. Diddy introduced Usher to an entirely new world, he said, one that was wildly inappropriate for someone who was as young as Usher was at the time. Remember, Usher was just a teenager and Diddy was well into his 20s.
In the 90s, do you understand what that's like?
Puffy's place was like just filled with chicks and orgying like nonstop, right?
No, not really. I
Come
mean,
on.
but hey, it was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
Yeah, but you were 13. What were you
I
seeing?
went there to see the lifestyle.
Right.
And I saw it.
In fact, in a 2004 interview with Rolling Stone, Usher revealed that Diddy had shown him a totally different set of things, specifically when it came to sex. Girls were always around, Usher explained. You'd open a door and see somebody doing it, or several people in a room having an orgy. You never knew what was going to happen. Fast forward 12 years and Usher's testimony hasn't changed a bit. It was during this interview that Usher confirmed once more that he got a chance to see some interesting things whilst living under Diddy's roof. And despite being a child, he was exposed to an explicit lifestyle he couldn't understand. Finally, Howard asks if he'd ever send his own kids to Puffy Flavor Camp, and Usher's immediate response to this question tells us all we really need to know.
You're a dad now. Would you ever send your kid to Puffy Camp?
Hell no.
But it wasn't just these videos that were re-emerging in the public psyche. A couple YouTube videos featuring a 15-year-old Justin Bieber were suddenly making rounds on the internet in light of Diddy's recent allegations. Originally posted in November 2009, right as Justin was becoming a global superstar, the 2-minute video has generated headlines again, mainly due to it being such an uncomfortable watch. Titled Justin Bieber's 48 Hours with Diddy, the first 30 seconds feature Diddy gifting the young pop star a brand new Lamborghini and promises Justin that in a year, when he turns 16, this car is all his, and when he turns 18, the giant mansion behind them is his too. Justin asks him where they're going, and when Diddy asks him where he wants to go, that's when it gets slightly more awkward. Some claim that people are reading too deeply into things, but given all the allegations against Diddy, there's good reason to believe that something shady may have been going on.
Check this out, yo. Justin, you ever seen the movie 48 Hours? Right now, he's having 48 hours with Diddy, him and his boy. They're having the times of their lives, like, you know, where we hanging out and what we doing. We can't really disclose, but it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream.
The implications that a grown man like Diddy is about to go out and help a teenager find girls is pretty odd at face value. This could have all been some sort of harmless promo for Diddy's album or some sort of project. However, given the mountain of allegations against Diddy, it makes sense why all of these videos have come back under public scrutiny. "2024 has been a harrowing year for Sean Combs. 2 years ago, the rap musician and mogul threw a lavish 53rd birthday party at his $61 million mansion in Beverly Hills. A host of stars lined up to toast his career, with a guest list that included Travis Scott, Mary J. Blige, Chris Brown, and Machine Gun Kelly. Fast forward to 2024, and his career is on the ropes. In a case filed in New York, the star has been accused of kidnapping, drugging, and coercing women into sexual activities, sometimes through the use of firearms and threats of violence. The same Los Angeles mansion that hosted his birthday party was raided by police in March. There, officers seized supplies that they say were intended for use in orgies known as freak-offs, including drugs and more than 1,000 bottles of baby oil. Mr. Combs has denied all the charges, entering a not guilty plea on Tuesday, the 17th of September.
The federal government is very deliberate in when they bring criminal charges. And for them to be executing this warrant now, I imagine this investigation has been going on for months or longer. And they usually do not indict someone, especially someone of this kind of public magnitude, without having all their ducks already lined up. So I imagine it is a very serious case.
The court case comes after a year in which the musician has faced lawsuits from a number of women. Let's rewind to see where his current court situations began.